Good morning. You guys holding off the weather, right?
How much do you pay attention to that?
Very few, you know, been can't control it anyway, right? So it is what it is. Luckily, we had a little bit of wet grass yesterday, so in that respect, we learned how to run with our toes.
Is Callaway going to be your punt returner?
Yeah, and Peppers will be ready as well. You know, could be a split time situation with those guys based on hot hand or who's playing the most on that side of the ball as well.
What did he show you kind of through camp to earn?
Callaway?
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for him, he's still got good catch procedures. You know, it's like he didn't lose those things after being out of football for a year, which is a good thing to see. You know, would we have liked to have gotten him more touches in preseason? Probably so. But, you know, situations happen. Sometimes you don't get those reps in preseason. But he's caught the ball well in practice. He's got game experience back there, be it even in college. It's still game experience with people coming down there trying to tackle him. So in that respect, you know, I don't foresee it being a problem for him. It's not too big, I wouldn't think.
And then Jabril back there for kickoffs?
Yeah. And, you know, there, again, it's also an opportunity probably to have two guys back there. The way the configurations are now, everybody back there better be a ball handler.
Do you like your kickoff returners to be aggressive, or I mean, or do you want them to maybe play it safe and take that 25 yards?
Well, I mean, you play percentage football no matter what you do, even before the rule changes. You know, you got to have a distance hang time meter kind of going off in your head to be able to know whether or not you want to down a ball. Obviously, our goal is to give the offense at least the 25-yard line. But trying to catch the ball going forward, knowing something about their place kicker and where the balls are going, things like that all kind of tie into what you think is going to be a ball that you're going to get an opportunity to. And everybody kicks the ball different in this league. Some people are going to put it in the short mortar situation. Some people are going to put it on the goal line. So, you know, just having them lined up where they can at least see the ball full flight, I think makes a lot of the times the decision easier for them.
Of special teams coordinators, they just want their kickers to kick the ball through the end zone if at all possible with the all these rules. But there is something to be said for trying to hang it up there, give the coverage time, team time to get down there and pin a team. Where do you stand philosophically in regards to that?
Well, I think you always try to see if you can steal a possession. When you see teams that are kicking the ball and putting it in play, they're teams that either feel like they've seen something on tape from a schematic standpoint or something from a handling standpoint. So you always want to keep those options open. You want to have a kicker that can do those types of kicks. Love to do the spraying of the ball as best we can. And then there's going to be times that you're going to need a touchback. You're going to have to, you got a lot of starters maybe on your kickoff team nowadays with the new rules. So you kind of got to be smart in that respect because you can't control that factor, particularly in early games where the weather's, should be better. And I think I just watched last night's game. There was a lot of touchbacks in that game because, those are two high-powered offenses. And what's the difference between the 20 and the 25? There's a lot of studies. But at the bottom line is probably not that much difference where the offense gets the ball. But as a return team, you want to give them the ball at the best advantage, and that'd be the 25 for the extra 5 yards.
So much turnover on the roster. I'm assuming there's going to be a bunch of new guys on your coverage teams. Like, do you have a handful of guys that you're counting on to be kind of stalwarts on both of the coverage teams?
Well, we start always with the gunners. Are we going to get one-on-ones? If we are, then they need to have the standard of 100% tackle. And those are the kind of guys that are usually obviously perimeter guys, skill guys. So we start the punt coverage from, can our gunners make one-on-one tackles? Can they beat a vice and still get down and be a factor at the point of catch? In terms of the guys that are new, I mean, that's the NFL nowadays. You got so many guys come out of college that don't play special teams, so you just kind of got to go into it. Would you like to have a true core? Yes. Sometimes injuries, sometimes guys getting hats. You just got to be able to plug guys in, and you got to protect it before you can cover it. So punt protection is a big thing for us. It always will be. And then obviously on the kickoff stuff is, being able to mix it up like we talked about a while ago and keep them a little bit guessing as to where we're coming with the hit spot.
When you talk about punt protection, obviously you weren't here last year, but have you showed the guys that opener last year just how that one special teams kind of blunder affects the whole game?
Well, I can't say we haven't watched it because from a schematic standpoint, it was something you got to be able to protect against. But, you can't beat up one play, negative as it was. But, it's one of those deals there where there's not many guys left, that were on that unit. And from the players that were here, they did a good job of explaining their particular situation in that play. And that's what I kind of looked for. I didn't look for good play, bad plays. I looked for what the players saw so I knew how to teach them and kind of work it from there.
Named special teams captain representative. What is it about his personality that we don't talk to him a whole lot, obviously.
Right.
But
I hope you don't, because that means he's probably just doing his job, right?
But, just could
Like
you
me.
maybe provide a little insight about Britton, what makes him a leader, that type of thing?
I think the biggest thing with Britton is he's a weight room guy, so he's always around the players. I think he's good probably in the locker room with the guys, and respect. He's one of the older players on this team. He's married. He's got kids. He's got a lot of answers for some of these young guys that might not have been through this, and he's been in a Super Bowl. So those are but I think the biggest thing for him is the respect factor that he has from his peers. And they know that, he's a guy that's going to go out there and try to give them the best shot they can to be successful. And, from that standpoint, it's good to have a guy that's, he knows how to stand up and say what he's got to say.
Again, without having been here last year, but, watching what Zane did last year versus what you saw this year, have you seen progression from him?
I've seen progression from a kickoff standpoint. I think he's better, and that was one of our goals coming out of our initial meetings was what we needed to do. From a field goal standpoint, not getting a whole bunch of shots in the preseason, but making the kicks when he did get the opportunities. And I know he still wants to strive to be the best. I know he wants to make 100% of his kicks, and and all those things factor in. But I've seen a progression from him. I think he's stronger. Obviously, he's got a year under his belt of being tested, in this league, and I think that the experience factor for him has to come back to where it was at the tail end of last year.
When you say kickoff, do you mean just like placement, things like that?
Placement, distance of kicks, hitting the accurate hit spot, when we do call certain things, and just an overall stronger leg, in that respect.
Now that you've been here for a few months, what kind of asset has Josh Cribbs been for you?
Josh Cribbs? Oh, shoot. Just, an instant resource on, the catching of a punt, the minute details of that job, and same with the kickoff stuff. And just, the fact that he was a productive coverage guy. Because, again, those are the things that he and Sam bring to me is I can kind of work with two or three guys, and they can kind of work with two or three guys apiece, and both of them having the experience of the coverage aspect of it and knowing completely understand what we're trying to accomplish. That's the biggest thing that both of those guys have brought. And Josh, coming from not being in coaching to coaching, is this is how we're going to do it, and this is how we're going to teach it, and meticulous notes like you probably did as a player. And those are the things that you want to see that, that he's shown that he has that ability to translate it from paper, listening, and then onto the grass itself.
Intern in that position?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody that's we had some great interns in Arizona. We had some great interns in Pittsburgh that became coaches. But I don't think you don't find very many special teams guys that got that pedigree that walk into a building as a volunteer, and an intern in that respect and do what he's done for our players.